Good morning. Welcome back to Safe Reflections. It's a Saturday morning, and I hope that today you're well. Again, if you enjoy the things that I share, please subscribe, hit the like button, the bell, so you'll be notified. I wanted to share some things that's been on my mind. I'm just waking up, so I may look tired. Hope that's okay with you. But I have been thinking a lot about a lot of things. Recently, my son was and his girlfriend was stuck in Dubai right before the war, or the conflict between Israel and the U.S. and Iran began, and they were stuck there for about 3 weeks or so. And it was a very scary time for me and my family because we didn't know if we would see our son again. They weren't able to get back home. Flights and the airports were challenged, and he could hear the bombs off in the distance as Iran was retaliating. So it was a very scary time, and I found myself meditating a lot and, praying to who I believe controls everything and is everywhere, to bring my son back home. And thankfully, he and his girlfriend made it home safely. And in fact, I got a chance to see him for the first time since he's been back last night. And, the hug and the embrace that he and I shared was a different hug and embrace, a different kind of connection, because I was just so grateful that he and she were back home. So much is happening in the world. It's, nearly every morning I wake up thinking about the many people who are being detained by our government. And I don't want to get too specific with details. Hopefully you're very familiar with everything that's happening. And there's a new story, a new horrifying story that comes out in the news almost every day. And it just, for me, it reminds me of times in history where groups of people were detained and their lives were snatched away. And, whatever side you're on in regards to immigration and policy, etc., the fact is we're people, we're human beings. And the thing I want to ask is, who is the other? Like, who is the other? I want to ask this question because I think it's a very important question. Who is the other? When Confucius said this about 500 years before the Christ, he says, "Do not do unto others what you do not want done to you." Who is the other? In Eastern philosophy, the other is you and me. We are a reflection of one another. We are, in a lot of Eastern philosophy, there is no separation. There is no us and them. There's only one. There's only us. And we all emanate from divine source. Or in Buddhist tradition, we are all recipients of the same compassion, the same grace, and the same kindness. In fact, the Buddha is noted as saying, "As they are, so am I. As I am, so are they." And there is this energy of oneness, this energy of kindness, this energy of generosity that we all share as sentient beings, because we're human beings. We're humans living out of the same reality. And what tends to separate us are ideologies, political differences, religion particularly. Unfortunately, Christianity as religion, the religion I grew up in, isn't as consistent in that philosophy. There's a lot of othering in Christianity: men versus women, Gentiles versus Jews, etc., etc. And there are many examples of that throughout the scripture, both Old and New Testament. And there's a lot of violence there. So I think one of the reasons why Christians throughout the nation and even the world are confused about who the other is because there is a lot of contradiction in their scriptures when it comes to how we should treat human beings as a whole. But then Jesus comes along in the scriptures and seemingly flips the script when we talk about who the other is. And the one story I like to share is the story of Jesus meeting the woman at the well. And there are many stories in the Gospels where Jesus seems to be hinting at something or speaking to something that totally transcends the religion and the politics and the social flavor of the day, right? Hold on to that statement, the social flavor of today. He meets a woman at a well. And as he meets this woman alone, which that is a very shocking scene because one, Jewish men did not meet single women in a solitary place because that was too questionable. Throughout Scripture, women are not seen as valuable as men. In fact, when in Judaism, when a woman would give birth to a baby, she was considered unclean and could not worship at the temple for a number of days. And if she had a female baby, then she was unclean double the time, as opposed to if she had a male child. So she was more unclean in society if she gave birth to a female as opposed to a male child. That's othering. So in that way, what that is saying, the woman is not as valuable as the male. In fact, many, I think it's in the Talmud, what was said often, the rabbis would say, "Thank God I'm not a woman." Think about that for a second. Imagine having this attitude as a male, that you wake up every day, "God, thank you that I'm not a woman." That is a massive othering. Who is the other? So Jesus meets this woman at the well, and he asks her for a drink of water. And I'm going to shorten the story because I don't want to spend a lot of time. I'm already 7 minutes in. But he asks her for a drink of water. And she says, "Well, sir, you don't have anything in which to drink from." So what makes this interesting is that Jesus is asking for a drink of water. She's a woman, but not only is she a woman, she's a Samaritan. So she is a woman that the Jews despise. They do not like Samaritans. And Samaritans, even though they're at the same well, the Samaritan woman understood very clearly that Jews, and not only just Jews, but Jewish men did not have a relationship with Samaritan women. But Jesus says, he asks for water. She says, "You don't have anything which to drink from." In essence, what Jesus is sort of illustrating in the story is that he is willing in that moment of life, that moment of two people coming together beyond politics, beyond religion, beyond history, in that moment of two people coming together, two human beings, Jesus in the flesh, in the story, and asking for water from this despised woman, this woman he should be hating. This is like a Christian meeting someone who is transgender at the well. This is like someone in the 50s in America during segregation, meeting someone who is black or African American or colored at the time, which term they used, meeting them at the well. This is in the 50s when there was segregation, bathrooms for whites and bathrooms for blacks. Everyone was separated. But here is Jesus telling the story at the well, and there is no separation. And when he's asking for water, and she recognizes he has no cup, what he is insinuating is that, listen, I am willing to drink from your cup. I'm willing to drink from your cup. A Samaritan. That's a Christian willing, or hardcore radical, now I won't say radical, but let's say a fundamentalist Christian willing to invite a gay person to dinner, not just to evangelize them, but simply because they are human beings. See what I'm saying? We can take this 2,000-year-old story and bring it forward and ask ourselves, who is the other in my life? The other in my life is the person that is not like me, the person that is other than me, the person that is not me, the person that is different, the person that society has taught me to hate, the person that the world, my religion, my faith, my family, whatever it is, has groomed me to despise. That is the other. And in this day and time, who are we being taught to despise? What group of people or groups of people are we being taught to dismiss and treat as if they're not even worthy of life or consideration or any measure of compassion? Who is that? That's the other. So when Jesus says to us with this very powerful, simple word, these words, and I believe if every human being could live this, the world would change. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The other is not my family, my friends, my kids, the people that I like. The other are those that I don't like. The other are those that I have biases towards. The others are the ones that I have both explicit and implicit bias towards. The other is anybody that breathes air, anybody that has skin, anybody that's human. That's the other. And as I read the news and I look at the world around me, I wake up with a heavy heart when I see so much hatred and othering, so much violence against humanity. And I ask myself, who have we become and what are we doing? And my heart grieves. And I ask myself, what can I do? What can I do? So wake up on a Saturday morning and I share a little bit extra long video and put it out in the world. And hopefully this message becomes a little pebble that ripples outward. Because maybe we can, if we sort of not let hardcore, religious, rigid, institutional Christianity dictate to us who the other is, let's put that aside. I won't even begin to name names here of what groups and what individuals are doing that. That's not the purpose of this video. But what if we were to take Jesus at his word? What if we were to live the example of Jesus in the Gospels of how he treated the other, the Samaritan, the woman, the one that was hated? What if we were willing to drink from the cup, symbolically, from everyone that walks this earth, regardless of their religion, their gender, their sexuality, simply because they are human beings. And in the words of Buddha, as they are, so am I. As I am, so are they. And maybe we could dispel this myth of separation and let love tell us and live through us a better story, a better reality, a better future, a better today. I hope this blesses you. Namaste. And Namaste means this: I see the divinity, the divine in you as it is in me. Blessings to you. Love someone today. Be an example. You are amazing. You are love. And you are light. Let there be light. Peace and blessings. Wherever you can, please share this video. Give it to somebody. And maybe they might be a ripple, and you and I can ripple love through this world. Let's make some changes. Blessings.